If you're going to just say, yeah, it's based on a book, but here's this movie though, directed by Spielberg. Like, yeah, they're going to care more about the movie than they do about the comic because you only care about the movie. See, this is how I don't understand how these people get in these positions in the first place. Because what do you mean? As the DC Comics president, you are wondering, what does manga have that Western comics don't? First of all, you're comparing an aggregate of countries to one single country. This one country that just so happens to be very community-based and is very reliant on shared experiences. You are trying to add in a comparison between multiple countries that are sometimes not even close geographically to one country that is known for having a very community-based image, and one sometimes to the detriment of its individuals. So you're trying to say, yes, why are the collection of France, America, the UK, etc., why are their comics different? Because they don't have a unified experience. So you're going to have this very thin string that connects all of these different titles together, whether it's the art style, the archetypes that they have in it, whether it's the unifying locations or story arcs, the way they tell stories, the way they use language, all of that stuff is going to be similar across titles. That's going to differ from Western comics, as you're using that phrase, where they all express things differently. You're going to have different languages, different experience, different story types, etc., where one of them is going to tie in a unifying culture, and then the others are going to have different types of cultures that you're trying to either sell me on, which is going to be harder because it's different across all of them, or you're going to try to erase those different cultural things and make it sort of generic. And when you do that, obviously you're going to lose some of those people that were then, looking for that cultural tie-in. You can't try to compare these different comic industries to manga because you are trying to say that these titles over here, which are going to be expressed differently with their art styles, with the characters, with the story types, with the way that they use words and characters and archetypes, all of that stuff is going to be different from what people are used to with manga. They're going to get a very similar experience with manga that they cannot get in other types of Western comics. Yes, some of the stories may be similar in essence. You're going to still get a beginning, a middle, and end. You're going to get character arcs and so on. But with people who have read manga, they can understand that they're going to get an experience that is similar yet different. It's going to be that reliability and that similarity that's going to draw them in and keep them there. Also, you have the manga to anime pipeline. If you don't already know this, you're undervaluing the power of anime. Everybody knows that anime is very powerful when it comes to manga doing well. Sometimes manga that don't sell well, some of your favorites don't sell well at first, and then they get an anime and then they blow up. It is directly responsible to a skyrocketing in sales. We saw with Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer was selling okay at first, but as soon as it got that anime and people really loved season 1, all of a sudden it skyrocketed. They, as DC Comics does not do a good job at marketing themselves to the general audience that anime has. They as comics cannot compete with the anime version of those titles. And they used to do cartoons, but they don't do that anymore. They had the DC comic They had the DC comic cartoons like Justice League, like Batman Beyond, like Static Shock, like Teen Titans, etc. If they would have kept that up and had a good portion of their titles be put into the cartoon machine, possibly you could be looking at a good comparison of this. But you didn't keep that up because of the costs or whatever it is.